Edging is an orgasm control technique which involves the maintenance of high levels of sexual arousal for an extended period of time without reaching orgasm. It's consistently been described as relatively safe or even beneficial in regards to ejaculatory control and mastery. And while edging indeed may hold some value as a tool to control the onset of ejaculation, it will absolutely destroy the practitioner's brain, endocrine and nervous system's proper functioning. We'll deal with the specific influence of edging on the brain, hormones, neurohormones and neurotransmitters in a minute, but let's first explain what it actually does to the stages of the human sexual response cycle. 1. It prolongs the plateau phase indefinitely. It is very harmful as our organisms are not built to function in a state of sexual arousal for too long. With edging, one is able to continue with the activity basically indefinitely and to a state of complete exhaustion. 2. It allows the practitioner to experience the orgasmic state numerous times in one session. This is particularly harmful, even more so than the prolonged plateau phase. Now, let's take a look at what is going on during those phases and how prolonging them affects our organism. In the neurochemistry of sex, Walter Last describes the relation between sexual activities and dopamine, prolactin, oxytocin, and phenylethylamine. Dopamine levels are said to rise through the plateau stage just to eventually get to a point of a dopamine brainstorm at the time of orgasm. The heightened dopamine levels have only a brief effect on our nervous system, since the body down-regulates the receptor count immediately, meaning that the higher the dopamine levels, the lower the active receptor count will have. The effect is not immediately apparent though, since the excessive dopamine levels have to be upregulated from the synaptic cleft. But when that happens, we are left with normal to low dopamine levels and low receptor count, leading to severe withdrawal. As you can see, deficient dopamine levels and/or receptors will lead to addictions, depression, anhedonia, lack of ambition and drive, inability to love, low libido, erectile dysfunction, no remorse about personal behavior, ADD or ADHD, social anxiety disorder and antisocial behavior. Of course, these are not to be blamed only on dopamine. The studies have just noticed a pattern where low dopamine has been shown to be connected to the symptoms described. Low dopamine usually goes hand in hand with numerous other neurochemical changes. Serotonin and acetylcholine are also released during sexual activities and flood in high amounts during the orgasmic phase. They are in no way less important as we're going to take a closer look right now. Serotonin. It's released during sexual activities as well, peaking at orgasm. Not only that, but serotonin is actually needed to modulate sympathetic responses, which are in their absolute height during the orgasmic phase. Thus, edging has the potential to easily overload the serotoninergic system. Let's take a look at the binding profile of serotonin to properly gauge its importance. You can easily determine the crucial role of this neurotransmitter and imagine the consequences of its abuse during edging. Acetylcholine. Similarly to serotonin and dopamine, it is being extremely abused during edging. As you can see, it participates actively in the peripheral, autonomic and central nervous systems, which are frequently overloaded during the ill practice. Acetylcholine is the only neurotransmitter used in the motor division of the somatic nervous system, and is the principal neurotransmitter in all autonomic ganglia. It is also involved in cardiac tissue neurotransmission and is present at neuromuscular junctions in skeletal muscle. The general rule, of course, is the more you flood your synaptic cleft with dopamine, serotonin, acetylcholine and other neurotransmitters, the worse withdrawal you're going to experience. Again, edging is particularly harmful as it may lead to dangerously low receptor counts. Now, let's take a look at a hormone or luteinotropin called prolactin. It is normally released upon ejaculation, but withholding it and experiencing just the orgasmic state over and over again affects its regulatory mechanism. When one finally ejaculates, since the dopamine high was so strong, prolactin levels rise even higher respectively. Even greater imbalances are then observed since dopamine, which is soon to become extremely low, is actually also used to downregulate prolactin in a cycle. Borderline hypoprolactinemic levels result in a vast array of diseases, disorders and symptoms, most notable of which are decreased libido, sexual dysfunction in both men and women, erectile dysfunction, infertility, autoimmune disorders, growth factors impairment, improper blood clotting, and D2 receptors dysregulation. Also, it's known that the organism's sympathetic response is in its highest during the orgasmic state, as epinephrine and norepinephrine are extremely heightened in order to modulate proper cardiovascular response and proper muscle contractions. Continuously abusing epinephrine-norepinephrine highs without actually moving your body and burning or metabolizing them through the actual physical activity is dangerous and can lead to heart palpitations, tachycardia, arrhythmia, anxiety, panic attacks, headaches, tremors, and hypertension. It also very directly affects inhibitory neurotransmitters such as GABA, which end up extremely abused during those practices. It also creates negative neuroplasticity on the principle what fires together wires together, and can lead to a default excessive sympathetic functioning, only to get worse with the already shot serotonin GABA nervous modulation. There are numerous other harmful effects of edging, and we'll definitely describe many of them in the future. Thank you for watching this video. Be sure to check out the description below for any additional information.